Close your eyes now and let the weight of the present day simply drift away like a leaf floating down a slow stream. Allow your breathing to become deep and rhythmic as we embark on a journey back through the mists of time. We are traveling back thousands of years to a time long before the hum of electricity and the glow of city lights obscured the heavens. Imagine yourself standing on the soil of an ancient earth where the night was a kingdom of absolute and pure darkness. The air is cool and crisp against your skin, and the only sounds are the gentle rustling of tall grass in the wind and the distant rhythmic chirping of crickets hidden in the shadows. You are safe here, you are comfortable, and you are enveloped by the comforting blanket of the night. In this ancient world, the setting of the sun marked a profound transition. As the golden light of day faded into the deep purple of twilight, the world did not turn on artificial lights, but instead embraced the velvet obsidian of the true night. Imagine looking up from this pristine vantage point. Without the haze of modern pollution, the sky is not merely a dark void, but a crowded and vibrant canvas of diamond light. It is a spectacle that we rarely see today, a dome of infinite depth that seems to curve over the horizon, embracing the world in a silent hug. As your eyes adjust to this perfect darkness, the stars do not just twinkle, they blaze with a steady and piercing light. There are thousands of them, perhaps millions visible to the naked eye, scattered across the heavens like spilled dust from a celestial mine. This is the sky that your ancestors saw. This is the same canvas that humans have gazed upon for hundreds of thousands of years, finding in it both mystery and comfort. But amidst this sea of scattered jewels, there is one feature that dominates the ancient sky, a feature so vast and so beautiful that it commanded the awe of every civilization that has ever walked the earth. Stretching from one horizon to the other is a glowing band of pearlescent light, a misty arch that divides the heavens in two. This is the structure we now know as the Milky Way Galaxy. But to the ancient observers, it was a river of souls, a path of milk, a celestial bridge, or the backbone of the night. Imagine seeing it as they did, not as a collection of stars, but as a singular fluid entity, a ghost of light painted across the blackness. It glows with a soft and haunting luminescence, brighter in some places and darker in others, where great clouds of interstellar dust block the starlight, creating the illusion of islands within the stream. To the people of the ancient Americas, it was often seen as a great river in the sky, where the souls of the departed would journey toward the afterlife. Imagine the comfort of that thought as you lie still in the darkness. The idea that the sky was not empty space, but a busy thoroughfare of spirit and light, a place of connection between the earth and the unknown. The silence of this ancient night is profound. It is a heavy and peaceful silence that allows your mind to expand, to reach out and touch the edges of the universe. As you watch the Milky Way in your mind's eye, you can feel the slow and majestic rotation of the earth. The stars seem fixed, but over the course of the night, they drift slowly westward, a cosmic clock that has been ticking since the dawn of time. This band of light is actually the collective glow of billions of stars, stars so distant that their individual points of light merge into a seamless fog. This is our home. This is the disk of our galaxy seen from the inside. Though the ancients did not know the physics of spiral arms and supermassive black holes, they understood the majesty of it. They understood that they were part of something much larger than themselves. Looking up at that arching river of light, they felt a sense of belonging. A feeling that the universe was vast but not hostile, that it was a place of beauty and order. Imagine sitting by a small campfire on this ancient earth, the warm orange glow of the embers contrasting with the icy blue-white of the Milky Way above.
The fire crackles softly, sending tiny sparks drifting upward as if they are trying to join their brothers in the sky. The smoke rises in a thin gray column, disappearing into the vastness. You feel the ground solid beneath you, the enduring strength of the planet holding you up, while above you the galaxy stretches into infinity. There is no rush here. There is no schedule to keep. There is only the slow wheel of the heavens and the steady rhythm of your own breath. Breathe in the cool, ancient air and let it fill your lungs with the peace of the past. Breathe out and release any tension you are holding. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw relax. Let your hands rest gently by your side. You are a traveler in time, witnessing the raw and unfiltered beauty of our home galaxy. In this time before telescopes, the Milky Way was a mystery, a divine painting, a source of stories that would be whispered from generation to generation. Parents would point upward and tell their children that the white path was spilled milk from a goddess, or the smoke from the fires of creation. These stories were the first science, the first attempt to explain the unexplainable, the first steps on a journey of discovery that would eventually lead us to understand what we are truly looking at. But tonight, we do not need the equations or the data. We only need the view. We only need the feeling of insignificance that is somehow comforting, the realization that our worries are small beneath the scale of this galactic river. The light you see in this ancient sky has traveled for thousands of years to reach your eyes. Photons that left their stars before the pyramids were built, before languages were written, crossing the vast and silent emptiness of space to land on the retina of an ancient observer, and now, in your imagination, to land on yours. It is a connection across time, a bridge of light that links you to every human who has ever looked up and wondered. The Milky Way is not just a galaxy, it is a shared heritage, a common roof under which all of humanity sleeps. As the night deepens, the band of light seems to grow brighter, the contrast deepening as the last traces of the sun vanish completely. You can see the dark rifts within the band, the great rift in the constellation of Cygnus, where the dust lanes of our galaxy obscure the center. To the ancients, these dark patches were caves or voids, places of mystery within the river. The Australian Aboriginal people saw a giant emu in the dark spaces between the stars, a celestial guardian watching over the earth. Every culture saw something different, yet they all saw the same beauty. They all felt the same sense of wonder that you are feeling now, a soothing and heavy wonder that presses down on your eyelids, making them feel heavy and relaxed. The ancient Earth is a quiet place. The noise of the modern world has not yet been invented. There are no engines, no sirens, no notifications, only the wind and the stars. The rhythm of the natural world is slow and patient. Trees grow over centuries.
Mountains rise over millennia, and the stars circle in a dance that takes eons. Allow yourself to sync with this slow rhythm. Let your heart rate slow down to match the peaceful pulse of the ancient night. The Milky Way is a lullaby written in light, a gentle reminder that you are made of the same stuff as those stars, that the atoms in your body were forged in the hearts of ancient suns that lived and died long before this moment. You are stardust, contemplating stardust, a conscious piece of the universe looking back at itself. This thought is not heavy. It is light and freeing. It means you belong here. You are a child of the galaxy, just as much as the trees and the stones and the ancient ancestors who sat by their fires.
As you continue to gaze into the imaginary heavens, let the silver light of the Milky Way wash over you, cleansing your mind of clutter, soothing your nerves, and preparing you for a deep and restorative sleep. The river of light flows silently. It does not demand your attention. It simply exists, constant and beautiful, a background to your dreams. The horizon is a blur of dark shapes, mountains or forests that frame the sky, grounding the celestial display in the reality of the earth. The temperature is perfect, neither too hot nor too cold, a gentle equilibrium that makes you want to curl up and drift away. The ancient observers often slept under this open sky, waking up to track the movement of the planets, treating the sky as a calendar and a map. But for now, it is simply a blanket, a roof of diamonds and velvet, the grandest ceiling imaginable. As you drift deeper into relaxation, imagine the Milky Way slowly rotating, the entire galaxy turning like a great wheel in the silence of space, carrying the sun and the earth and you along with it. We are traveling at incredible speeds around the Galactic Center, yet we feel nothing but stillness, a smooth and silent ride through the cosmos. This paradox of motion and stillness is at the heart of the sleep experience. Your body is still, but your mind is free to float, to drift among the stars, to explore the dusty trails of the Milky Way without ever leaving your bed. The ancient night is embracing you now. The whispers of the past are fading into a comfortable silence. The fire has burned down to glowing red coals, a soft and warm light that mirrors the red giants in the sky above. The connection is complete. The sky and the earth are one, and you are the observer at the center of it all. Slowly letting go, slowly fading. The river of light guides you, not to the afterlife, but to the land of dreams, a place as vast and mysterious as the galaxy itself. Let the image of the ancient sky linger behind your closed eyes, the bright band of the Milky Way arcing over a silent and peaceful world, a world where sleep comes easily and naturally, where the night is a friend, where the darkness is a comfort, and where the stars are eternal guardians watching over your rest. As we drift deeper into the comfort of this historic night, let us turn our ears to the soft and distant voices of the past, the ancient whispers that floated up like smoke from 1,000 campfires to mingle with the stars. Before we had telescopes of glass and metal to tell us what the universe was made of, we had the boundless power of human imagination. The night sky was a great screen upon which every civilization projected its deepest fears, its greatest loves, and its most sacred beliefs. And nowhere was this storytelling more profound than when looking at the Milky Way, that silent arch of light that seemed to bind the heavens together. To the ancient Greeks, whose stories have shaped so much of the Western world's understanding of the cosmos, this band of light was known as the Via Lactea, a Latin name that translates directly to the road of milk. It is a soft and nurturing image, the idea that the galaxy is made of something as fundamental and comforting as milk, the substance of life itself. Legend tells us of the great queen of the gods, Hera, who was asleep in the gardens of Olympus. She was approached by the infant Heracles, a child born of Zeus and a mortal woman, who needed divine nourishment to gain his legendary strength. As the babe nursed, Hera awoke, startled by the child who was not her own, and in her surprise she pushed him away, causing a spray of her divine milk to spill across the dark canvas of the night sky. It was said that this milk stained the heavens forever, creating a permanent white path among the stars. It is a story of human emotion writ large upon the cosmos, of jealousy and surprise, and the accidental creation of beauty. And it is from this very myth that we get our scientific word for these massive island universes, for the Greek word for milk is gala, giving us the word galaxy. So every time we speak of galaxies today, we are unknowingly whispering an echo of that ancient Greek lullaby, a reminder of a time when the universe felt smaller and more intimate, like a family drama played out on a stage of infinite black. But the Greeks were not the only ones to look up and dream. If we let our minds drift eastward across the vast continents of the ancient world, we find ourselves in the quiet rice paddies of ancient China. Here, the Milky Way was not seen as milk, but as a flowing body of water, the silvery river of heaven. There is a heartbreakingly beautiful story hidden in this river, a tale of star-crossed lovers that is still celebrated to this day. The story tells of the weaver girl, represented by the bright star Vega, and the cowherd, represented by the star Altair. They were deeply in love, their devotion to each other so all-consuming that they neglected their duties in the heavens. The weaver girl stopped weaving the clouds and the mist, and the cowherd let his water buffalo wander through the sky. The emperor of heaven, angered by their negligence, separated them forever, placing the wide and rushing silvery river between them. Imagine looking up at the summer sky and seeing those two bright stars on opposite sides of the misty band of the Milky Way, separated by the celestial current, gazing at each other across the light years with a longing that permeates the silence of the night. Yet the story offers a glimmer of hope, a gentle promise that softens the sadness.
It is said that once a year, on the 7th day of the 7th lunar month, all the magpies of the world fly up into the heavens, their wings beating in a soft rhythm to form a living bridge across the silvery river, allowing the lovers to meet for just one single night. This myth turned the cold, unfeeling stars into characters in a romance, making the night sky a place of emotion and connection. It taught the people that even in the vastness of the cosmos, love could find a way to bridge the gap. Listening to this story by the light of a paper lantern, the ancient people would have felt a soothing melancholy, a sense of peace in knowing that the stars too understood the pain of separation and the joy of reunion. Now let your mind wander further still, crossing the great oceans to the lands of the Americas, where the Cherokee people gathered around their fires in the cool valleys of the Appalachians. They looked up at the same band of light, but they saw something earthy and grounded, something connected to their daily survival and the sacredness of the harvest. To them, the Milky Way was the place where the dog ran. The legend speaks of a spirit dog who stole cornmeal from the communal mill. As the dog ran away into the sky, escaping the people who chased it, the fine white dust of the cornmeal spilled from its mouth, scattering across the blackness of the night to form the path we see today. This story, known as Where the Dog Ran, grounded the heavens in the reality of the earth, connecting the ethereal light of the stars with the staple food that sustained the people. It made the sky feel close, almost touchable, as if one could reach up and brush the cornmeal dust from the cloak of the night. It is a comforting thought that the heavens are made of the same things that nourish us here on earth: corn and milk and water, elements of sustenance and life reflected in the stars. Further south in the high Andes Mountains, the Inca civilization saw the Milky Way not just as a river, but as a reflection of their own lifeline, the great Vilcanota River that flowed through their sacred valley. They believed the celestial river was a channel for water to circulate through the universe, drawing moisture from the earth and showering it back down as rain. But even more fascinating was their focus on the darkness. While most cultures looked at the stars, the Incas looked at the black spaces within the Milky Way, the clouds of interstellar dust that blocked the light.
In these dark patches, they saw animals, a llama with its baby, a toad, a fox, and a serpent. These were the dark cloud constellations, silent guardians watching over the mountains, sleeping in the river of stars. Imagine the comfort of believing that the animals you care for on Earth have their spirit counterparts sleeping in the sky above you, watching over your flocks as you rest. The night sky was not a void to them, but a busy and populated landscape, a mirror of the world below. Across the ocean, in the dry heat of ancient Egypt, the Milky Way was seen as a celestial counterpart to the Nile, the river that gave life to the desert. They believed it was a pool of cow's milk from the goddess Bat, or a path that the sun god Ra sailed his barge upon during the dangerous hours of the night.
Bringing the sun safely from the west back to the east to ensure the dawn, this idea of a journey through the darkness is a powerful sleep aid. The knowledge that the light will return, that the sun is merely sailing through the river of stars and will rise again, allows the mind to let go of the fear of the dark. In the cold lands of the north, the Vikings saw the Milky Way as the path to Valhalla, the hall of the slain, or sometimes as the Winter Way, a snowy track across the sky. For the Finns, it was the pathway of birds, a route that migrating birds used to travel south for the winter, a beautiful image of nature guiding nature, wings following light. These myths, though scientifically incorrect, were emotionally true. They served a vital purpose for the ancient mind. They took the terrifying, infinite void of space and turned it into a home. They furnished the empty rooms of the sky with furniture made of stories, making the universe feel lived in and familiar. When an ancient child asked, "What is that light?" they were not given a cold calculation of distance and mass. They were given a story that wrapped them in the culture and warmth of their people, a story that acted as a lullaby for the soul. These whispers of the past are still with us, lingering in the back of our minds when we look up. They remind us that we are a storytelling species, that we have always sought to find meaning in the patterns of the light. The Via Lactea, the Silver River, the path of cornmeal, the Winter Way, all these names are acts of affection, pet names for the galaxy that holds us. As you lie here now, comfortably supported by your bed, you can choose which story brings you the most peace. Perhaps you are floating on the gentle current of the silvery river, or perhaps you are walking the soft path of the cornmeal, or maybe you are resting in the garden of the gods where the milk was spilled. It does not matter that we now know these stars are balls of fusing hydrogen, for tonight we can suspend the science for just a moment longer and rest in the poetry. The myths are soft. They are fuzzy around the edges like a dream. They do not demand the sharp focus of logic. They invite the blurred vision of sleep. Let the stories blend together in your mind, a tapestry of milk and water and dust and spirits, all weaving together to form a warm blanket of history. The voices of the storytellers are low and rhythmic. Their words are slow, echoing across the centuries to reach you, telling you that you are part of a long lineage of dreamers, telling you that it is safe to close your eyes, for the dog is guarding the sky. The magpies have built the bridge, the sun barge is sailing smoothly, and the milk has been poured. The galaxy is calm, and the stories have all been told, leaving behind only the gentle silence of the night and the steady breathing of the world. Drift on these ancient whispers. Let them carry you away from the present moment and into the timeless realm of legend, where everything is possible and where the stars are close enough to touch. The silver river flows on, silent and eternal, and you are flowing with it, weightless and free, surrounded by the myths that cradled humanity in its infancy, soothing you, calming you, and guiding you gently toward the shores of sleep.
Let the pages of history turn slowly and quietly now,
shuffling like dry leaves in a gentle autumn breeze, carrying us forward from the ancient world of myths and legends into the dawn of a new awakening. We are traveling to the year 1610, landing softly on the cobblestone streets of Padua in Italy. The air is cool and damp with the mist of the Venetian lagoons nearby, and the world is asleep under a blanket of heavy silence. But high in a small tower, a single candle flickers in a window, casting long dancing shadows against walls lined with books and parchment. Here sits a man named Galileo Galilei, a mathematician, a thinker, a dreamer, who is about to change the way humanity perceives its place in the cosmos forever. The atmosphere in the room is thick with the scent of beeswax and old paper, and the faint metallic tang of polished brass. On the table lies an instrument that looks deceptively simple, a tube of wood and leather no longer than your arm, capped at both ends with pieces of glass that Galileo has ground and polished with his own hands. This is the spyglass, the telescope, a device that has the power to bring the distant near and to make the invisible visible. Imagine the texture of the tube as he picks it up, the smooth, worn leather cool against his palm, the weight of it balanced and purposeful. He is tired, for he has been working for many nights. His eyes are weary from straining against the dim light, but a restless curiosity drives him on, a quiet fire in his mind that refuses to be extinguished by the need for sleep. He extinguishes the candle, plunging the room into darkness so that his eyes can adjust to the night. The transition is slow and peaceful, the objects in the room fading into gray shapes, the silence deepening until he can hear the beating of his own heart. He steps out onto the balcony, into the crisp night air, pulling his cloak tighter around his shoulders against the chill. Above him, the sky is a masterpiece of obsidian and diamond, the same sky the ancients saw, the same sky the storytellers filled with milk and rivers. But Galileo is not looking for stories tonight. He is looking for truth. He lifts the tube to his eye, the brass fittings cold against his brow, and points it upward. His movements are slow and deliberate, a practiced dance between the man and the machine. He aims not at the bright wandering planets, nor at the cratered face of the moon, which he has already mapped, but at the soft glowing arch of the Milky Way. For thousands of years, the greatest minds of philosophy had argued about the nature of this light. Aristotle had claimed it was merely a disturbance in the atmosphere, a fiery exhalation of the earth trapped below the sphere of the moon. Others thought it was a dense cloud or a permanent twilight reflecting the sun. It was seen as a fluid, a mist, a continuous smear of whiteness without form or structure. Galileo takes a breath and holds it, steadying his hand as he peers through the curved glass. At first, there is only a blur, a fuzzy wash of light as he adjusts the focus, turning the small wooden dial with his thumb. Slowly, patiently, the image begins to sharpen. The blur tightens, the fog begins to lift, and then, in a moment of absolute stillness, the universe unlocks its secret.
The breath he was holding escapes him in a soft sigh of wonder, for through the tube the milky cloud has vanished, replaced by a breathtaking tapestry of sparks. The mist is not mist at all. It is stars, thousands upon thousands of them, so many that they crowd the field of view like grains of sand on a beach of light. The tube has stripped away the illusion of the cloud, revealing the reality of the swarm. Everywhere he looks within that band of whiteness, he sees not a continuous glow, but distinct, piercing points of light, crowded together in clusters, weaving in and out of the darkness, vast congeries of stars that no human eye had ever seen before. Imagine the profound silence of that moment, the solitude of being the only person on the entire planet who knows the truth.
The feeling is not one of triumph, but of humility, a heavy and soothing realization of just how small we are. Galileo realizes that the universe is not a small room with painted walls, but a deep and boundless ocean. The Milky Way is not a painted streak, but a deep structure of depth and complexity, composed of multitudes. He moves the telescope slightly, and hundreds more stars drift into view. He moves it again, and hundreds more appear, an endless parade of silent sentinels. The sheer number is overwhelming, hypnotic, inducing a trance-like state of awe. He realizes that what looks like a smooth river to the naked eye is actually the blending of light from stars too faint and too distant to be seen individually, just as a forest looks like a green carpet from a mountaintop, but reveals itself as individual trees when you enter it. Galileo has entered the forest of the stars. He has walked among the celestial trees and found them to be numberless. The tension in his shoulders begins to melt away as he continues to gaze, lost in the rhythm of the discovery. The cold of the night is forgotten. The worries of his daily life in Padua fade into insignificance against the scale of what he is seeing. He feels a connection to the infinite, a sense of peace that comes from understanding. The universe is no longer a mystery of vapors and myths, but a reality of tangible objects, of matter and light. This realization is grounding. It makes the cosmos feel solid and real, a place where the mind can rest. Imagine him lowering the telescope for a moment to rest his eye, looking up at the band of light with his naked vision. It looks the same as it always did, soft and milky, but now his mind knows what is hiding within it. The secret feels warm and comforting, like a treasure held close to the chest. He returns to the eyepiece, eager to drink in more of the starlight, finding the cluster of the Pleiades, finding the nebula in Orion. Everywhere he looks, he finds that nature has been more generous than anyone dared to imagine, creating a universe that is full to the brim with light. He thinks of the book he will write, the Sidereus Nuncius, or the Starry Messenger, a message from the stars delivered to the people of Earth. He will tell them that the galaxy is nothing else but a mass of innumerable stars planted together in clusters. He will write these words with a quill dipped in ink, but tonight the words are just thoughts floating in the quiet air.
The excitement of the discovery slowly gives way to a profound exhaustion, the kind of heavy and satisfying tiredness that comes after a long journey. The adrenaline fades, leaving his limbs heavy and relaxed. The telescope feels heavier in his hands now, the gravity of the earth calling him back to rest. He takes one last look, a final communion with the billions of distant suns, whispering a silent thank you to the glass that opened the door. He steps back inside the study, the room feeling smaller and warmer now. He places the telescope gently on the table beside the unlit candle, the leather casing cool to the touch, the glass lens dark now that it is turned away from the sky. He sits in his chair for a moment, the silence of the room wrapping around him like a shawl. His mind is still drifting among the stars, floating in the vast spaces between the points of light he just discovered. He closes his eyes, and he can still see them, the diamond dust against the velvet black, the image burned into his memory. It is a comforting image, a reminder that there is beauty waiting to be found in the darkness, that clarity comes to those who wait and look with patience. The world outside is still asleep. The canals of Venice are still. The people of Italy are dreaming in their beds, unaware that the roof of their world has just been raised, that the ceiling of the sky has been blown open to reveal an infinity of wonders. But you know this secret with Galileo across the centuries. You are there with him in the quiet tower, feeling the peace of the resolution, the satisfaction of the answer. The mist has cleared, and what remains is the truth,
And the truth is a lullaby of light, billions of stars singing a silent song of gravity and time, watching over you as you prepare to sleep. Let the image of Galileo's stars fill your mind, tiny points of steady light that do not flicker but glow with a constant assurance. They are far away, so very far away, and their distance makes them peaceful. They are not demanding, they are simply there, witnessing the passage of time, witnessing your breath as it slows down, witnessing your eyes as they grow heavy. The scientific revolution has begun, but tonight it begins with a quiet observation, a man alone with the night, finding comfort in the vastness. Let yourself drift into that vastness now. Let the telescope of your mind lose focus. Let the sharp points of light blur back into a soft and comforting mist, a blanket of stardust that covers you, protecting you, warming you. The glass is put away, the journal is closed, the ink is dry, the work is done, the history is written, and now it is time to rest, time to let the galaxy spin on its axis without you watching, time to trust that the stars will still be there when you wake, gleaming in the depths of space. But for now, they are just a backdrop to your dreams, a shimmering curtain drawn across the window of your consciousness, allowing you to sink deeper and deeper into the dark and restful silence. The legacy of 1610 is not just knowledge, it is the permission to wonder, the permission to close your eyes and see the infinite. Sleep now under the gaze of the innumerable stars. Sleep with the knowledge that the universe is full of light. Sleep and drift away into the starry mist.
Time flows onward like a silent river, carrying us gently away from the small tower in Italy in the dawn of the telescope, drifting through the currents of the 17th and early 18th centuries until we arrive softly on the shores of a new era, the late 1700s, specifically to a quiet garden in the town of Slough in the English countryside. The air here is different. It is heavy with the scent of damp earth and blooming night flowers, and the moisture of the British Isles clings to the grass like a carpet of jewels. We have arrived at the home of William Herschel and his sister Caroline, two guardians of the night who turned their garden into a shipyard for voyaging into the deep ocean of the sky. Imagine standing in this garden on a cold, clear night in winter. The ground is hard with frost beneath your boots, but you are wrapped in layers of heavy wool, feeling warm and secure against the chill. Dominating the garden is not a tree or a statue, but a monster of science, a massive telescope tube 40 feet in length, suspended within a great wooden scaffolding that rises into the dark like the skeleton of a cathedral. It is a machine of wood and iron and ropes, creaking softly as it shifts in the wind, a cannon aimed not at enemies, but at the secrets of the cosmos. William Herschel is not merely looking at the stars, he is attempting something that no human has ever dared to do before. He is trying to determine the shape of the universe itself, and he is doing it by the most simple and hypnotic method imaginable. He is counting. He is treating the sky like a vast garden, and he is counting the flowers one by one to understand the layout of the flower bed. This is the first great scientific survey, a task of immense patience and repetition that is perfectly suited to lull the mind into a state of deep trance. Imagine the rhythm of their work. William sits perched high on a platform at the mouth of the great tube, suspended in the darkness between the earth and the sky. He peers into the eyepiece and sees a small circle of the heavens, a field of view no larger than a coin held at arm's length. Within this circle, the stars of the Milky Way drift past as the earth turns, and he counts them. 1 star, 2 stars, 10 stars, 100 stars. He calls out the numbers in a low, steady voice, his breath misting in the cold air. Down below him, sitting at a small desk illuminated by the shielded light of a single lantern, is Caroline.
She is wrapped in blankets, her pen hovering over a ledger. She hears his voice floating down from the darkness, and she writes the numbers down. Scratch, scratch, scratch goes the pen, a rhythmic sound that marks the passage of time. This is the sound of science in the 18th century, not the beep of computers, but the scratching of a quill and the murmuring of numbers. William calls out the coordinates, the elevation of the telescope, and the density of the star field. He calls this process stargaging, sounding the depths of the heavens, just as a sailor sounds the depths of the sea with a lead line. He points his telescope toward the band of the Milky Way, and the number of stars jumps dramatically, rising from a few dozen to hundreds in a single glance.
He realizes that the galaxy is not a spherical cloud, but a flattened disk, a shape he compares to a grindstone or a great island of light floating in the abyss. Imagine the mental image of this island, a vast collection of suns stretching out into a flat plain, with our own sun buried deep within it. William sweeps his telescope across the sky in long, slow arcs, a process he calls sweeping. The very word suggests a cleaning of the mind, a gentle, repetitive motion that clears away the debris of the day. Sweep after sweep, he traverses the heavens, moving from the sparse regions where the stars are few to the crowded lanes of the galaxy, where they cluster like swarms of golden bees. The sheer monotony of the task is its beauty. There is no rush, there is no sudden excitement. There is only the slow accumulation of data, the piling up of numbers like sand in an hourglass. Counting, recording, moving, counting, recording, moving. The cycle repeats for hour after hour, night after night, year after year. The dedication required is absolute, a testament to the human desire to understand our home. As you listen to the story of this great count, let your own mind mimic the process. Imagine you are looking through that eyepiece, seeing the stars drift by in a silent parade. Do not try to name them. Do not try to understand their physics. Simply count them as they pass, a river of light flowing through your field of vision. Let each star represent a worry or a thought that you are releasing, letting it drift out of view as the next one appears. The cold English night is silent around you. The village of Slough is asleep. The dogs have stopped barking. The carriages have stopped rolling. Only the Herschels are awake, engaged in their silent communion with the infinite. The wooden structure of the telescope groans softly like a ship at sea, a comforting sound that speaks of timber and strength. The smell of the polished speculum metal mirror, the smell of the oil in the lantern, the smell of the wool and the frost. These sensory details ground you in the moment, making you feel present in that garden. The map that William is building in his mind is imperfect. He does not know about the dust that hides the true center of the galaxy. He thinks the sun is near the center because the stars seem to thin out equally in all directions. But this error does not matter tonight. What matters is the feeling of being enclosed, of being deep inside the garden of stars, surrounded by neighbors on all sides. The universe is no longer a hollow shell. It is a deep forest of light, and we are standing in a clearing in the middle of it, looking out through the trunks of the trees, seeing the density of the forest increase as we look along the plane of the galaxy. It is a cozy feeling, the feeling of being nestled within a greater structure. The island universe theory begins here, the idea that we are on an island of matter in an ocean of emptiness. Islands are safe places, places of refuge, and our galaxy is the ultimate refuge in the void. As the hours of the night wear on, William's eyes grow heavy. The cold seeps into his bones, but it is a good tiredness, a tiredness born of honest labor and wonder. He sees binary stars, two suns dancing around each other. He sees nebulae,
clouds of glowing gas that he suspects are new solar systems in the making. He is watching the universe breathe. seeing it not as a static painting, but as a living, dynamic place. Caroline's hand begins to cramp from the writing, but she continues, her devotion matching his. She is the keeper of the book, the guardian of the numbers. Together, they are weaving a net of data to catch the galaxy. Imagine the peace of that garden as the first hint of dawn begins to touch the eastern horizon. The stars begin to fade, not because they are gone, but because the sun is returning to claim the sky. The great telescope is lowered, the ropes are tied off, the lantern is extinguished. The garden returns to being just a garden, the dew on the grass reflecting the gray morning light. William climbs down from his perch, his legs stiff, his mind full of starlight. He walks across the wet grass to the house, the warmth of the indoors welcoming him like a warm embrace. The work is done for the night. The stars have been counted, the universe has been measured, and now it is time to sleep. Imagine yourself entering that house with them, leaving the cold observatory behind, entering a room with a dying fire in the hearth, the embers glowing with a soft red light that reminds you of the red giant stars you just saw. You settle into a deep armchair, the cushions soft and yielding. The weight of the heavy wool coat is removed, leaving you feeling light and free. The rhythmic chanting of the numbers still echoes in your mind, a mantra of peace. 100, 200, 300. The numbers blur together into a soft hum, a white noise that blocks out the world. The map of the galaxy is not just on paper, it is now in your dreams, a vast grindstone of light, turning slowly in the velvet black. You are a passenger on this island, safe and secure, drifting through the dark ocean of space. The scientific strive of the 18th century fades away, leaving only the beauty of the attempt, the bravery of two people standing in a garden, looking up, trying to comprehend the incomprehensible. Let their patience be your patience. Let their quiet focus be your quiet focus. There is no need to count anymore. The stars will be there tomorrow. The galaxy will hold its shape. The spiral arms will keep their secrets for a little while longer. For now, the only task remaining is to close your eyes and let the gravity of the Earth hold you. Let the rotation of the planet rock you. Let the memory of the garden of stars bloom behind your eyelids, a garden where the flowers are made of fire and light, yet they are cool and soothing to the soul. Sleep now in the safety of the island universe. Sleep with the knowledge that you are surrounded by billions of neighbors, silent and steadfast, keeping watch over the garden while you rest. The count is finished, the ledger is closed, the night is complete, and the deep, peaceful silence of history wraps around you like a warm quilt, inviting you to drift, to dream, and to sleep. Let the current of history carry us gently forward now, drifting away from the gardens of the 18th century and floating into the quiet, dignified atmosphere of the Victorian era and the early 20th century, a time when gas lamps flickered on the streets of London and New York, casting warm pools of yellow light against the fog, and a time when our understanding of the cosmos was settling into a picture of profound and majestic isolation. For there was a time not so long ago when the greatest minds of science believed that the Milky Way was not just a galaxy, but the galaxy, the entirety of the universe, the alpha and the omega of existence. This was the era of the island universe theory, a concept that paints a picture of such supreme solitude that it wraps around the mind like a heavy, comforting blanket. Imagine for a moment that this theory is true. Allow yourself to inhabit this historical worldview, where everything that exists, every star, every planet, every cloud of glowing gas, is contained within the single disk of the Milky Way, and outside of this disk there is nothing,
absolutely nothing but the infinite and eternal void. It is a thought that makes the universe feel cozy, contained, and private, like a warm cabin in the middle of a vast and snowy wilderness. In this view, we are not lost in a sea of billions of galaxies. We are the only ship on the ocean, a solitary vessel of light drifting through a boundless sea of darkness. Imagine standing on the edge of this universe, standing on the outermost shore of the Milky Way, where the last stars fade into the blackness. Looking out into the abyss, there are no other galaxies out there to greet you. No Andromeda, no Triangulum, only the endless silent dark. This is a concept of boundaries, of knowing where the walls of our house end, and there is a deep sense of security in limits, knowing that we are all here together, huddled within the gravitational embrace of our silver river, safely separated from the cold infinity by the shores of our galaxy. This was the universe of Jacobus Kapteyn and other astronomers who meticulously mapped the stars and found that they seemed to thin out as one traveled away from the sun, reinforcing the illusion that we were near the center of a solitary system. Imagine the feeling of living in this island universe. It is a feeling of preciousness, for if we are the only island of matter in the void, then life and light are incredibly rare, huddled together against the dark. This perspective transforms the night sky into a singular jewel, a unique oasis of energy in a desert of nothingness. As you lie in your bed, imagine that your room is a microcosm of this island universe, a safe and enclosed space floating in the quiet of the night. The walls of your room are the boundaries of the galaxy, and everything outside is the silent void, quiet and still, offering no disturbance. The concept of the island universe invites us to look inward, to appreciate the richness of our own home rather than worrying about what lies beyond. It suggests that we have everything we need right here, that the Milky Way is a self-sufficient city of stars that requires no external connection. The silence of this historical universe is deeper than anything we can imagine today, for in a universe with only one galaxy, there is no cosmic background noise, no distant collisions.
Only the internal hum of our own stars, a hum that is low and rhythmic like the purring of a great cat. The astronomers of this time looked at the spiral nebulae, those faint fuzzy swirls we now know to be distant galaxies, and they saw them merely as nascent solar systems forming within our own borders, small clouds of dust that belonged to us, parts of our own island. This belief kept the scale of the cosmos manageable, large but comprehensible, a scale that the human mind could wrap itself around without breaking. It was a universe that felt like a home, vast enough to explore, but small enough to belong to. Imagine yourself as a solitary drifter in this void, floating just outside the plane of the Milky Way, looking back at it. You see the galaxy not as one of many, but as a lonely, glorious lantern hanging in the dark. It glows with a soft, pearlescent light, the combined radiance of billions of stars blending into a single beacon. The spiral arms are wrapped tight around the core like a sleeping creature, and the whole structure rotates with a slow, majestic grace, turning once every 200 million years, a cosmic clock marking time in the silence. You are safe in this void, for the void is not hostile, it is simply empty. It is a place of absolute rest, where there is no gravity to pull on you, no wind to push you, no sound to distract you. It is the ultimate sensory deprivation tank, a place where your mind can completely unclench, floating in the velvet darkness with the beautiful glowing island of the Milky Way as your only companion. This feeling of solitude is not lonely, it is liberating. It means that for this moment, there are no demands on you. You are alone in the best possible way,
separated from the noise and the chaos, existing in a state of pure being. The island universe theory acts as a shield, protecting us from the overwhelming vastness of the modern multiverse. It allows us to pretend for a while that the universe is simple and quiet, just a single raft of stars on a calm black ocean. Let this image sink into your subconscious, the image of the solitary island. Think of the phrase island universe. The words themselves are soothing. Island implies a sanctuary, a place of vacation and rest. Universe implies everything that matters. So we are on a vacation from the rest of existence, isolated in a sanctuary of starlight. The dark spaces between the stars in this model are not scary. They are simply the spaces between the trees in our forest, comfortable shadows where one can rest. As you drift deeper towards sleep, allow the boundaries of your own world to dissolve into this cosmic solitude. You are a drifter, weightless and free, untethered from the earth, floating in the great emptiness that surrounds the galaxy. The silence is thick and heavy, pressing gently against your ears, muffling the sounds of the traffic, or the house settling, or the wind outside. There is only the silence of the void, a silence that has existed for eons, waiting for you to enter it. In this silence, your breathing becomes the loudest sound in the universe, a rhythmic tide that rises and falls like the slow pulsation of a variable star, in and out, slow and deep, echoing in the quiet chamber of the cosmos. The island universe is a lullaby of exclusion. It tells us that we can shut out the rest of the unknown, that we can close the door on the infinite and be content with what is inside. It is a philosophy of sleep. For what is sleep but a temporary withdrawal into our own private island universe, a nightly journey where we cut the ties with the external world and float in the void of our own consciousness? So embrace the isolation, embrace the solitude, feel the luxury of being alone with the stars. The great dark ocean of space is calm tonight. The waves of gravity are still, the ether is motionless, and our galaxy is drifting peacefully, carrying you along with it. You do not need to steer, you do not need to navigate. The course was set billions of years ago, and the momentum carries you effortlessly. The stars of the Milky Way are the lights of your home, seen from a distance, warm and inviting. But you are resting in the cool darkness of the front porch, watching the night, feeling the breeze of the ether. The historic misconception that we were alone was perhaps a necessary comfort for a young civilization, a way to feel special and central before we were ready to face the true scale of reality. And tonight, you can reclaim that comfort. You can wrap yourself in the belief that you are at the center of everything, that the universe was made just for you to rest in. The void is your bedding, the stars are your nightlight, and the rotation of the galaxy is your rocking cradle. Deeper and deeper you drift, moving away from the bright lights of the center, moving out towards the quiet rim of the island, where the stars are sparse and the darkness is plentiful. Here, on the edge of the galaxy, the silence is absolute. Here you can look out into the nothingness and feel a profound sense of peace, the peace of the end of things, the peace of the border, where the known meets the unknown and finds that the unknown is soft and gentle. Sleep is waiting for you in that void, waiting to catch you as you drift off the edge of the waking world, falling slowly, gently, into the velvet embrace of the great dark. The island universe fades into a blur of light, a distant memory of brightness, as the soothing darkness takes over, washing over you like a cool tide. You are the solitary drifter, the peaceful traveler, the silent observer of the void, and you are safe, you are held, You are home. Let the darkness cover you completely now. Let the island recede. Let the solitude become sleep, absolute and restorative, in the heart of the quiet, lonely, beautiful void.
As the pages of our celestial history turn once more, we leave behind the cozy solitude of the island universe and embark on a journey to the pine-scented peaks of California in the early 20th century. The air is thinner here, crisp and cold, filled with the scent of sagebrush and the ancient dust of the Sierra Madre Mountains. We are traveling to Mount Wilson, a place that sits like a temple of silence above the clouds and the sprawling lights of Los Angeles. It is the 1920s, a time of change and jazz and energy. But up here on the mountain, there is only the wind and the slow rotation of the great white domes that house the eyes of humanity. We are entering the era of the Great Debate, a pivotal moment when the human mind was asked to stretch further than it had ever stretched before. Imagine standing on the catwalk of the massive Hooker telescope, the 100-inch wonder of the world, a structure of riveted steel and glass that dominates the dark interior of the observatory. The dome is a cathedral of shadows, cool and damp, smelling of oil and cold iron. The slit in the roof is open to the night, a slice of the universe pouring in to touch the mirror below. Here sits a man named Edwin Hubble, a figure of focus and patience, often seen with a pipe clenched between his teeth, wrapped in heavy coats against the mountain chill. He is peering into the darkness, looking at a smudge of light known as the Andromeda Nebula. For centuries, astronomers believed this was just a cloud of gas within our own Milky Way, a small nursery of stars nearby. But Hubble is looking deeper. He is looking with the aid of the most powerful glass on Earth, and he is searching for a pulse, a rhythm in the light. He is looking for Cepheid variables, special stars that brighten and dim like cosmic lighthouses, ticking with a perfect regularity that reveals their true brightness. Imagine the quiet intensity of those nights. The only sound is the rhythmic ticking of the telescope's clock drive, a mechanism that counters the rotation of the Earth to keep the stars fixed in the field of view. Tick, tock, tick, tock, a metronome for the sleeping world. Hubble is taking long exposure photographs, capturing photons that have traveled across a gulf of space so vast that the human mind can barely comprehend it. He sits in the prime focus cage, suspended high above the mirror, floating in the dark air of the dome. He is a sailor in the crow's nest of a ship sailing through time, waiting for the universe to reveal its true scale. The photographic plates are small squares of glass coated in sensitive chemicals. They absorb the faint light for hours, soaking up the secrets of the nebula. When he develops these plates in the red-lit darkroom, the image that emerges is a negative. The stars are black dots against a clear background. And there, in the outer arms of the Andromeda spiral, he finds it, a tiny speck of darkness that wasn't there before, or rather, a speck that has changed. He marks it with his pen, writing 3 letters that will change the world forever. V-A-R, standing for variable. He calculates the distance based on the pulse of this star, and the silence of the observatory seems to deepen as the numbers fall into place. The result is staggering. The star is not inside the Milky Way. It is not a neighbor. It is far, far outside, nearly 2 million light-years away. The realization washes over him, not with a crash, but with a slow, profound wave of awe. The Andromeda Nebula is not a cloud. It is a galaxy, an island universe of its own, fully separate from ours, composed of its own billions of suns, containing its own mysteries and perhaps its own eyes looking back. In that quiet moment, the walls of the universe fall away. The ceiling is lifted,
and the horizon is pushed back to infinity. We are no longer the lonely drifters in a single boat. We are suddenly part of a vast archipelago, a cosmic ocean filled with island after island, stretching out into the darkness. Imagine the feeling of this expansion. It is not a scary feeling. It is a feeling of liberation, of room to breathe. The universe has just transformed from a single room into a boundless mansion with infinite halls to explore. The great debate between the astronomers Harlow Shapley and Heber Curtis is resolved not with shouting, but with a quiet scratch of a pen on glass. The Milky Way is just one of many, a realization that brings a deep and humble peace. As you listen to this story, let your own mind expand with the cosmos. Imagine the boundaries of your thoughts pushed outward, creating a vast open space where worries can dissipate like smoke in the wind. The scale of the universe is now so grand that our daily troubles become microscopic, invisible specks that cannot weigh us down. Hubble's discovery invites us to float in a sea of galaxies. Imagine them, millions of spiral shapes glowing softly in the dark, spinning slowly like pinwheels in a gentle breeze. Some are close, some are far, some are colliding in a slow, graceful dance that takes eons to complete. The vastness is a cushion, a soft, endless layer of space that wraps around us, protecting us with distance. The sheer emptiness between the galaxies is peaceful, a buffer of silence that ensures our quiet rest. Back on Mount Wilson, the night continues. The telescope tracks the stars. The gears turn silently in their oil baths. The wind whispers through the pine needles outside, a natural lullaby that has been sung for centuries. Hubble steps out of the dome and looks at the sky with his naked eye, seeing the smudge of Andromeda not as a cloud, but as a distant sister, a twin city of light across the void. The connection is made. The loneliness is ended. We have neighbors, distant and silent, but present nonetheless. This knowledge is a comfort, a reminder that the universe is rich and full, that nature is repetitive and bountiful, creating beauty over and over again in the depths of space. The cold air of the mountain feels cleansing, shrinking the capillaries, slowing the pulse, preparing the body for sleep. The lights of Los Angeles below are flickering out one by one as the city goes to bed, mirroring the stars above. But the lights in the sky do not go out. They are the eternal night lights, the guardians of the night. The concept of millions of light years is not a distance to be traveled, but a depth to be felt, a depth that pulls you down into relaxation. Imagine yourself drifting across that intergalactic void, floating weightlessly between the Milky Way and Andromeda, suspended in the absolute stillness of deep space. There is no sound here, no gravity, only the soft glow of the galaxies in the distance, looking like luminous clouds. You are a traveler of the mind, safe and serene, watching the slow, majestic turning of the cosmos. The expansion of the universe mirrors the expansion of your relaxation. As your muscles loosen and your breathing deepens, you are mimicking the spreading out of the galaxies, letting go of tension, letting go of tightness, allowing yourself to occupy more space, to be soft and open like the nebula itself. The photographic plate is stored away, the ink is dry, the history is recorded, and the history books are rewritten. But for tonight, the only thing that matters is the view of a universe that goes on forever, a universe that asks nothing of you but to exist within it. The silence of Mount Wilson is the silence of the library, the silence of the cathedral, a respectful hush that honors the scale of the creation. Let the name Edwin Hubble be a soft sound in your mind, a reminder of the man who opened the door, who looked through the keyhole and saw the ocean, and let that ocean rock you to sleep, the waves of light washing over you, the tides of gravity gently pulling you down. The great debate is over, and the answer is peace. The answer is vastness. The answer is a sky filled with infinite possibilities, all silent, all far away, all beautiful. The night is long, and there is plenty of time to drift, plenty of time to explore the spaces between the stars in your dreams. The Hooker telescope is parked, its eye closed for the day. The sun is beginning to hint at the horizon, but you are still deep in the velvet night, wrapped in the knowledge of the galaxies, feeling small but significant, a conscious observer in a universe of wonders. Sleep now, surrounded by the spiral arms of our galaxy and the distant glow of a billion others. Sleep in the vast, expanded, beautiful horizon that stretches on forever.
Now that we have pushed back the horizons of the universe and accepted our place among the millions of other galaxies, let us bring our focus back home. Let us float gently inward from the intergalactic void and look down upon our own city of stars with fresh eyes. Imagine that you are a silent observer suspended high above the galactic North Pole, looking down at the face of the Milky Way. From this vantage point, the confusion of the night sky resolves into a pattern of breathtaking symmetry and grace. We are not looking at a random scattering of suns, but at a structure so elegant it seems painted by a divine brush. This is the spiral waltz, the grand anatomy of a giant swirling in the silence of deep space. The galaxy looks like a great pinwheel of light, a glowing hurricane of starfire frozen in time. Yet it is not frozen. It is moving with a stately and majestic rhythm that is almost too slow for the human mind to comprehend. This motion is the heartbeat of our home, a slow turning that has continued for billions of years and will continue for billions more. The structure is dominated by the great spiral arms, long ribbons of light that uncoil from the bright center and wrap themselves around the galaxy like the petals of a cosmic flower. These arms are the places where the galaxy is most alive. They are the regions of high density where gas clouds are compressed and new stars are born, igniting like blue diamonds against the dark velvet. Imagine the names of these arms, names that sound like ancient incantations. The Scutum Centaurus arm, the Perseus arm, the Norma arm, the Sagittarius arm, and our own smaller bridge of light known as the Orion spur. Repeating these names is like reciting a prayer to the heavens. Scutum, Centaurus, Perseus, Sagittarius. They wrap around the core in a tight embrace, defined by the dust lanes that trace their inner edges, dark rivers of shadow that highlight the brilliance of the starlight. The science of this structure is as fascinating as its beauty. For a long time, astronomers wondered why the arms did not wind up tight like a spool of thread as the galaxy spun. If the inner stars moved faster than the outer stars, the spiral should have destroyed itself long ago. But the galaxy is a master of illusions. The spiral arms are not solid structures, they are waves, density waves to be precise. Think of them like a traffic jam on a highway that moves slowly while the cars move fast, or ripples moving across a pond. The stars and the gas clouds move into the spiral arm. They slow down, they shine brightly, and then they move out the other side. But the shape of the arm remains, a permanent ghost made of ever-changing matter. This is the density wave theory, a concept that transforms the galaxy from a static object into a living, breathing process. The arms are sweeping through space like the hands of a clock, gathering up the interstellar medium and squeezing it until it sparks into light. As you visualize this, imagine yourself drifting along one of these arms, riding the wave of gravity. You are moving through a region of intense beauty, surrounded by young, hot blue stars that have just been born from the dark nebulae. These stars are the jewels of the spiral,
short-lived and brilliant, tracing out the pattern of the waltz for us to see. The rotation of the galaxy is the ultimate slow-motion event. Our sun and everything around it is orbiting the center at a speed of 500,000 miles per hour, yet the distance is so vast that it takes 250 million years to complete just one single revolution. This period is known as a galactic year or a cosmic year. The last time the Earth was in this position in its orbit, the dinosaurs were just beginning to rise, the continents were shaped differently, and flowers had not yet evolved. The galaxy turns with a patience that humbles us, a rhythm that is measured not in hours or days, but in geological eras. Allow this sense of slowness to seep into your bones. There is no rush in the Milky Way. There is no deadline. The spiral arms will unfold at their own pace. The stars will drift in and out of the density waves in their own time. And you are part of this leisurely procession. You are a passenger on a planet that is dancing a waltz around a star, which is dancing a waltz around the galactic core. Circle within circle, cycle within cycle, all moving in perfect harmony. The center of the galaxy glows with a warm yellowish light, a concentration of older, wiser stars that have been burning for eons.
In contrast to the blue arms, this golden core feels settled and calm, an anchor for the spinning disk. The transition from the yellow core to the blue arms is a gradient of color that would challenge the greatest artist, a softening of light that speaks of age and evolution. As you watch the galaxy spin in your mind's eye, try to synchronize your breathing with its rotation. Imagine that your inhale is the slow gathering of gas into an arm, and your exhale is the release of that gas back into the void. In and out, slow and steady, mirroring the mechanics of the heavens. The spiral shape is found everywhere in nature, in the shell of a nautilus, in the pattern of sunflower seeds, in the shape of a hurricane, and here, in the grandest scale of all, it is the shape of flow, the shape of least resistance, the shape of the universe unwinding its energy. To sleep is to spiral down, to let your thoughts uncoil and drift away from the center of your mind, just as the stars drift in the arms. The anatomy of a giant is not just about size, it is about balance, the balance between gravity pulling everything in and rotation pushing everything out. This delicate equilibrium holds the galaxy together, preventing it from collapsing into a black hole or scattering into the void. It is a suspended state, a flotation, and you too are suspended, floating between the gravity of sleep and the momentum of the day. But the gravity is winning now. The gentle pull toward the center is irresistible. The dance of the Milky Way is a ballroom dance, a formal and elegant affair where the partners never touch but move in perfect synchronization. The music is the silent vibration of gravity, a low hum that permeates the vacuum, conducting the stars in their paths. Imagine the view from a planet located inside a globular cluster, those dense balls of stars that hover above the galactic disk like bees around a hive. From there, the Milky Way would cover half the sky, a magnificent spiral spreading from horizon to horizon, showing its full structure, the arms clearly defined, the dust lanes etched in black against the fire. But from where we are, buried deep within the Orion spur, we only see the edge, we only see the river, yet we know the shape, we know the dance, and that knowledge allows us to close our eyes and see the whole. The waltz continues whether we watch it or not, a comforting thought that the universe is running on autopilot, that the great mechanisms of the cosmos do not require our supervision. We are free to let go, free to retire from our post as observer and become simply a participant, carried along by the great wheel. The density waves gently rocking us, the dust clouds shielding us, the spiral arms cradling us in their curve. The immense scale of the galaxy
means that the motion is smooth. There are no bumps in this ride, no sudden stops, just a fluid, continuous glide through the ether. The friction of the day dissolves in this fluidity. The sharp edges of worry are smoothed down by the stream of starlight. The spiral waltz is the longest song ever played, a melody that began 12 billion years ago and is still in its opening measures. You can rest in the middle of this song, wrapped in the melody of the spheres. The scutum centaurus arm is a blanket of stars. The Perseus arm is a pillow of clouds. The Sagittarius arm is a sheet of light, all arranged around you to ensure your comfort. The giant is gentle. The giant is protecting. The galaxy is a mother holding her children as she spins, singing a song of hydrogen and helium, a song of gravity and time. Listen to the silence of the spin, the quiet power of the momentum, feeling the Earth turning beneath you, feeling the solar system turning around the galaxy, feeling the galaxy turning in the universe, a nesting doll of rotations that rocks you deeper and deeper into slumber. The visual of the spiral is hypnotic. Round and round it goes, leading the eye to the center and then back out again, a labyrinth of light where one can get happily lost, losing track of time, losing track of self, merging with the pattern, becoming one with the flow. The physics of the density wave describes how things move through a jam, but tonight you are not moving, you are stationary, letting the stars flow past you like water around a stone, smooth and cool and refreshing. The anatomy of the galaxy is the anatomy of a dream, vast, intricate, and beautiful, waiting for you to close your eyes and explore its depths. The waltz is slow, so very slow, dragging your eyelids down with its heavy, majestic pace. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. The rhythm of the stars, the rhythm of your heart, the rhythm of the sleep that is coming to claim you. Drift into the arms of the giant. Let the spiral carry you. Let the waltz whirl you away into the soft, silent, spinning dark.
We have danced the great spiral waltz and marveled at the anatomy of the giant, but now it is time to find our own place within this colossal city of stars. Time to zoom in from the dizzying heights of the galactic North Pole and descend gently towards a specific address, a quiet and unassuming neighborhood where a small yellow star warms a blue planet. This is the story of our home, the story of the Orion Arm. Imagine the Milky Way as a sprawling metropolis of light, a city that never sleeps, filled with the traffic of comets and the bright neon of nebulae. In this metaphor, the Galactic Center is the bustling downtown, a chaotic and crowded place packed with old stars and intense gravity where the supermassive black hole reigns. The outer rim is the wild frontier, sparse and dark and lonely. But we live in the suburbs, the perfect midway point known as the Galactic Habitable Zone. It is a place of balance and safety, far enough from the dangerous radiation of the core, yet close enough to the heavy elements needed to build planets and life. We are nestled in a structure known as the Orion Cygnus Arm, or simply the Orion Spur. It is not one of the grand primary arms like Perseus or Scutum Centaurus that wrap majestically around the galaxy. No, our home is a bridge, a connecting filament of stars and gas that stretches between two of the major arms. Imagine a small scenic road connecting two massive highways, a road lined with trees and soft light where the pace is slower and the air is clearer. That is where we are, tucked away in a quiet corner of the galaxy, protected and hidden. The name Orion comes from the great hunter of the winter sky, a constellation familiar to anyone who has ever looked up on a crisp January night in America. When you look at the three bright stars of Orion's belt, or the glowing smudge of his sword, you are looking at our local family, our immediate neighbors in this spiral bridge. Looking into the Orion Arm is like looking down your own street,
seeing the lights of the houses next door. It creates a feeling of intimacy in the vastness, a sense that we are not lost in the void, but surrounded by a community of stars. Our Sun is located about 26,000 light-years from the Galactic Center, a distance that ensures our tranquility. We are drifting through this spur with a gentle and steady motion, carrying the planets along with us like a mother duck leading her ducklings across a calm pond. The science of our location tells us that we are currently passing through a region known as the local bubble, a vast cavity in the interstellar medium created by supernovae that exploded millions of years ago. These ancient explosions swept away the dense clouds of dust and gas, leaving a clearing, a quiet open space where our Sun can travel without resistance. Imagine the comfort of that, traveling through a clear patch of the cosmic forest, the path ahead smooth and unobstructed. This bubble extends for hundreds of light years around us, acting as a buffer, a safe zone that allows us to see the universe clearly. It is why our night sky is so sharp and brilliant, why we can see the distant galaxies. We are looking out through the window of our clean bubble into the deeper cosmos. As we travel through the Orion Arm, the Sun does not just move in a straight line. It bobs up and down, oscillating through the plane of the galaxy like a horse on a carousel, rising above the disk and then dipping below it, a slow and rhythmic wave motion that takes millions of years to complete. Right now, we are close to the median strip of the galactic highway. This carousel motion is hypnotic to think about, a gentle rising and falling that rocks the entire solar system to sleep, up and down through the eons, a cosmic lullaby sung by gravity. Our speed is incredible, nearing 500,000 miles per hour, but inside our quiet bubble, we feel nothing. No wind, no vibration, only the stillness of the vacuum. Looking out from our porch in the Orion Arm, we see our nearest neighbors, the Alpha Centauri system, just over 4 light-years away, the bright dog star Sirius, the red giant Betelgeuse. These are the streetlights of our suburb, familiar beacons that have guided sailors and dreamers for millennia. They seem fixed and permanent, but they are traveling with us, a convoy of stars moving together through the spur, sharing the journey. There is a profound sense of belonging in this, knowing that our Sun is not a rogue wanderer, but part of a stream, a member of the Orion Association. Even the seasons on Earth are a reflection of our view into the galaxy. In the summer, we look towards the center of the Milky Way and see the thick, bright clouds of the Sagittarius Arm. In the winter, we look outward towards the edge and see the thinner, subtler light of the Perseus Arm. Our yearly orbit around the Sun gives us a panoramic tour of our galactic location, a slow panning shot of our neighborhood. The Orion Arm is rich with the ingredients of life, filled with stellar nurseries like the Orion Nebula, where new stars are blinking into existence, wrapped in cocoons of glowing gas.
These are the new families moving into the neighborhood, bringing fresh light and energy to our quiet spur. But here, in our solar system, things are mature and settled. The violent days of formation are long gone, replaced by a stable middle age, a time of golden light and steady heat, a time for life to flourish and for minds to wonder. Imagine the Earth as a small blue marble resting safely in the pocket of the Orion Arm, shielded by the magnetic fields of the Sun, shielded by the atmosphere, and shielded by the arm itself. Layers of protection wrapped around us like warm blankets. We are hidden in the crowd of stars, a speck of dust in a beam of light, but a speck that is conscious, a speck that knows its address. We are located at 0, 0, 0 in our own coordinate system, the center of our own observable universe. But in the grand map, we are just a quiet residence on a side street. This humility is comforting. It means we do not have to carry the weight of the galaxy on our shoulders. We can simply exist. We can simply drift. The suburbs of the galaxy is a place of peace, where the nights are long and the days are bright,
where the cosmic weather is calm. Think of the most peaceful place you know on Earth, perhaps a cabin in the woods or a house on a quiet cul-de-sac, and expand that feeling to the scale of the stars. That is the Orion Arm, a sanctuary of stability in a chaotic universe. The dust lanes of the Milky Way form a curtain that draws around us, dimming the blinding light of the core, giving us a dark sky in which to sleep. If we lived in the center, the sky would be ablaze with light. There would be no night, no rest. But here, in the Orion Spur, we have the gift of darkness, the gift of the cycle of day and night, a rhythm essential for our biology and our peace of mind. So let us be thankful for our location, thankful for the distance, thankful for the quiet. As you lie in bed, visualize the position of the sun, a yellow dot moving through the blackness, surrounded by the silence of the local bubble, surrounded by the friendly stars of Orion, the great hunter guarding our sleep, his shield raised against the dark, his belt shining like a row of nightlights. The structure of the spur is like a cradle, curving gently to hold us, guiding us around the galaxy. We are not static, we are voyagers, but the voyage is so smooth that we can sleep through it. We can dream while the galaxy turns, knowing that we are in the right place, the Goldilocks zone, not too hot, not too cold, not too crowded, not too lonely, just right, the perfect place for a nap, the perfect place for a long, restful sleep. The Orion Arm whispers to us, telling us that we are home, telling us that we are safe. The vast city of stars is all around us, but we are tucked in our cozy room. The blinds are drawn, the noise is shut out, and only the soft glow of the starlight filters through. Drift deeper into this sense of place. Visualize the map of the Milky Way in your mind. See the spiral arms swirling, and place a small, comforting pin where we are, right there in the bridge, right there in the quiet. You are there, on that pin, on that planet, in that room, grounded and secure. The universe is big, but your spot in it is defined and warm. The emptiness of space is not a void to be feared, but a vast lawn stretching out from your front door, a lawn of silence and peace. The sun will keep bobbing, the galaxy will keep turning, the stars will keep burning, and you will keep sleeping, carried safely in the pocket of the Orion Arm, drifting towards the morning on a river of stars.
Let us drift now from the safety of our solar neighborhood and float gently into the deep and mysterious clouds that line the spiral arms of our galaxy. We are entering the quiet chambers of creation, the stellar nurseries where the stars themselves are born. Imagine a place of absolute stillness and profound cold, a place where the temperature hovers just above absolute zero. This is the realm of the molecular clouds, vast and silent cathedrals of gas and dust that stretch for hundreds of light years across the dark. To the human eye, these clouds might look like holes in the sky, patches of ink spilled against the stars. But with the vision of science, we see them for what they truly are, the fertile soil of the universe, waiting to bloom with light. Imagine yourself floating weightlessly into one of these great nebulae, perhaps the great Orion Nebula, which glows like a ghostly cavern in the winter sky, or the Eagle Nebula, with its towering pillars of creation. As you enter the cloud, the light of the outside world fades away, replaced by a soothing twilight of deep purples and soft velvety grays. The silence here is thicker than anywhere else in the cosmos. It is a heavy, protective silence, like the air inside a library or a temple, a silence that demands reverence. You are surrounded by the ingredients of life, simple hydrogen atoms that have existed since the dawn of time,
and tiny grains of cosmic dust, microscopic silicates and carbon that shimmer like diamond dust in the faint starlight. This dust is the ash of dead stars, the remnants of ancient suns that lived and died eons ago. And now it is here, waiting to be recycled, waiting to be part of something new. This is the ultimate form of recycling, a cosmic circle of life that plays out on a timescale of millions of years. The process of starbirth is not violent or chaotic. It is slow, patient, and incredibly gentle. It begins with gravity, the patient sculptor of the universe. Imagine gravity not as a force, but as a whisper, a gentle invitation for the atoms to come closer together. Somewhere in the dark heart of the cloud, a pocket of gas becomes slightly denser than its surroundings, perhaps nudged by the shock wave of a distant supernova, or simply by the random drift of the nebula. Gravity takes hold of this pocket and begins to pull, drawing the gas inward, closer and closer, atom by atom. The cloud begins to collapse in on itself, but this collapse is so slow that if you were watching, it would look like nothing was happening at all. It is a movement measured in millennia, a slow motion gathering of the blanket of the night. As the gas falls inward, it begins to spin, conserving its momentum like a figure skater pulling in her arms. The cloud flattens into a disk, a great rotating wheel of material, turning silently in the dark. Imagine the feeling of being wrapped in a warm blanket, pulled tight and secure. That is what the protostar feels at the center of this disk. It is being swaddled in layers of gas. The pressure is building, the density is rising, and with the pressure comes heat. Deep inside the cold cloud, a warm heart begins to beat.
The temperature rises from the freezing cold of space to thousands of degrees, glowing with a dull red heat like the embers of a dying fire. This is the protostar, a baby star that has not yet woken up. It is sleeping in its cocoon, gathering strength, gathering mass, feeding on the cloud that surrounds it. The science of this moment is beautiful in its simplicity. Potential energy is turning into thermal energy. Gravity is turning into heat. The universe is preparing to turn on a light. But for now, it waits, and we wait with it, suspended in the warm, dark womb of the nebula. There is no rush here. The star knows exactly when it is time to shine. It does not hurry. It simply grows, heavier and hotter, until the conditions are perfect. Imagine the center of the protostar reaching a critical temperature, millions of degrees, where the atoms are moving so fast that they can no longer avoid each other. They collide and fuse, hydrogen merging into helium, releasing a tiny burst of pure energy, and then another and another. A chain reaction begins. A nuclear fire is kindled in the heart of the sphere. This is the moment of ignition, the moment a star is truly born. But from the outside, we do not see a sudden flash. The light must fight its way out through the thick layers of dust that still surround the infant star. It pushes gently against the cloud, warming it from the inside, causing the nebula to glow with a soft, ethereal light. Imagine looking at a lampshade made of thick velvet, and then someone slowly turns up the dimmer switch inside. The fabric begins to glow, the colors deepening and becoming rich. That is what happens to the nebula. The dark cloud is transformed into a landscape of color, pinks and reds from the energized hydrogen, blues from the reflection of the dust, a painting created by light itself. The new star begins to clear a space for itself, unleashing a wind of particles that gently blows the remaining dust away, pushing back the curtains of the nursery to reveal the cradle. This stellar wind carves out a cavity in the cloud, a hollowed-out chamber where the new sun shines bright and clear, undisturbed and triumphant. Imagine the beauty of this newborn light. It is clean and pure, a beacon of hope in the darkness.
It has won the battle against gravity, balancing the inward pull with the outward push of its own radiance, achieving a state of hydrostatic equilibrium, a scientific term that simply means perfect balance, perfect peace. The star has found its place. It has settled into a stable life that will last for billions of years, just like our sun. Looking around the nursery, we see that this star is not alone. Stars are rarely born in isolation. They are born in families, in clusters. Look at the Pleiades, the seven sisters, a dazzling cluster of blue jewels in the winter sky. They are siblings, born from the same cloud, traveling together through the galaxy. Imagine the comfort of that. Born together, drifting together, bound by the memory of the nebula that created them. The dust that remains around the new star does not go to waste. It settles into the disk, clumping together to form pebbles.
Then rocks, then mountains, and eventually planets. The Earth you are sleeping on right now was born in this exact way, created from the leftovers of the sun's birth, formed in a stellar nursery long ago. So when you touch the ground, or drink a glass of water, or breathe the air, you are interacting with the ancient dust of a nebula. You are part of this story. You are a child of the dust and the gas, connecting you to the stars in the most literal way possible. The cycle of the stellar nursery is a lullaby of matter. Dust becomes star. Star creates light. Star creates life. And eventually, star returns to dust. A slow, eternal breathing of the cosmos. Inhale and exhale. Creation and dissolution. Always moving, always peaceful. As you visualize these great clouds of creation, let the image soften in your mind. The pillars of gas are not rigid stone, but soft smoke, drifting and changing shape like clouds on a lazy summer afternoon. The colors are pastel and muted, soft pinks, baby blues, gentle lavenders, colors that soothe the eyes and the mind. The heat of the new star is not a burning fire, but a gentle warmth, like the sun on your face through a closed window, warming you without dazzling you. The gravity that pulled the star together is now pulling your eyelids down, a heavy, comfortable force that anchors you to your bed, just as the star is anchored in space. The spinning of the disk has slowed down. The frenetic energy of birth has settled into the steady rhythm of life. The nursery is quiet again. The work is done. The baby star is asleep in its cradle of gravity, shining with a steady, consistent glow. The dust clouds are drifting away, dispersing into the galaxy to seed the next generation, leaving behind a clear view of the heavens. The vastness of the nebula makes your own room feel cozy and small, a safe haven within the greater universe. You are safe here, just as the star is safe in its equilibrium. Nothing can disturb this balance. The physics are absolute. The laws of nature are holding everything in place, holding the stars, holding the planets, holding you. The birth of light is a quiet miracle, a silent dawn in the deep space, showing us that even in the coldest, darkest places, something beautiful can begin, something bright can emerge. Let this thought be a comfort to you as you drift into the shadows of sleep. The darkness is not empty, it is pregnant with possibility. It is the canvas for the light. The nebula wraps its arms around you, a cloud of dreams and stardust, soft and cool and infinite. The hydrogen atoms whisper to you, telling you stories of the beginning of time. The dust grains shimmy and dance in the slow currents of the ether, creating a hypnotic pattern that draws you deeper and deeper into relaxation. The stellar nursery is open, the stars are watching, the light is soft, and the night is long. Sleep now. Sleep in the garden of the galaxy. Sleep where the stars are born. Sleep and become one with the dust and the gas and the birth of the gentle, healing, eternal light.
We have explored the quiet outer reaches of our home and witnessed the birth of stars in the colorful nurseries of the spiral arms. But now, gravity calls us inward, pulling us gently but inexorably toward the center of the great city. We are leaving the spacious suburbs of the Orion Spur and traveling thousands of light years through the deepening night toward the very core of the Milky Way. Imagine a journey into a region of increasing brilliance, where the stars are no longer scattered like lonely lighthouses, but are gathered together in a dense and glowing crowd. As we approach the galactic bulge, the sky changes from black to a deep golden yellow, a warm and ancient light radiating from billions of old red giant stars that have gathered here like elders around a hearth. The air feels heavier here, charged with the immense power of gravity. Yet it is a stable and comforting weight, like a heavy quilt placed over you on a cold winter night. We are heading toward the constellation of Sagittarius, the Archer, where the steam from the teapot shape in the sky marks the direction of our destination. For centuries, astronomers looked at this spot and saw only darkness, thick lanes of interstellar dust blocking their view like heavy velvet curtains drawn across a stage. They knew something was there, something massive enough to swing the entire galaxy around it, but the heart remained hidden, shrouded in mystery and silence. It was not until the age of radio telescopes and infrared cameras that we could peer through the dust and see the truth. And what we found is the most profound object in our universe, the silent gravitational anchor known as Sagittarius A star. Imagine approaching this invisible giant. You are floating in the center of the galaxy, surrounded by a swirling disk of hot gas and dust. But right in the middle, there is a point of absolute darkness, a sphere of shadow so perfect and so deep that it defies comprehension. This is the supermassive black hole, a singularity with the mass of 4 million suns crushed into a space no larger than our own solar system. But do not be afraid, for in this story, the black hole is not a monster. It is a monarch, a ruler that holds the galaxy together with a firm and steady hand. Think of it as the hub of a great wheel, the central peg around which the magnificent carousel of the Milky Way turns. Without this heavy heart, the galaxy might drift apart, the stars wandering aimlessly into the void. But the anchor is there, solid and unmoving, keeping order in the cosmos, keeping us safe in our orbit 26,000 light-years away. There is a profound peace in the presence of such mass, a feeling of grounding that resonates deep within the soul. Gravity is the ultimate force of connection, the invisible glue that binds the universe, and here at the center, that connection is strongest. Imagine the sound of this place, not a chaotic roar, but a low, resonant hum, the vibration of space-time itself curving under the weight of the singularity. A sound so low it is felt rather than heard, vibrating in your chest, calming your heartbeat, synchronizing your pulse with the rhythm of the galactic core. As you look at the accretion disk swirling around the event horizon, you see a mesmerizing display of light, gas heated by friction until it glows with colors we cannot name, swirling like water down a drain, but in slow motion.
Dancing on the edge of the forever, the science of the black hole tells us about the event horizon, the point of no return. But let us think of it tonight as the ultimate horizon of rest, a place where even light stops moving, where the frenetic energy of the photon gives up its race and simply rests, creates a boundary where the noise of the universe cannot enter, a zone of absolute quiet. Time itself behaves differently here. Thanks to the laws of relativity, time slows down as you get closer to the heavy heart. The seconds stretch out into minutes, the minutes into hours, a natural deceleration of reality. Imagine yourself drifting closer to this zone of slow time, feeling the rush of the world fading away,
the urgency of your daily life dissolving into the slow, majestic ticking of the black hole's clock. Everything here is leisurely, everything is patient. The stars that orbit Sagittarius A star do not crash into it, they dance around it, performing a high-speed ballet that has continued for eons. Astronomers have watched a star named S2 trace a perfect ellipse around the invisible point, a cosmic skater gliding on the ice of space-time, proving that the giant is there. Watching the dance of S2 is hypnotic, a repetitive loop of motion that soothes the eye. Round and round it goes, obedient to the gravity, safe in its path. This dance is a promise of stability, a demonstration that even on the edge of the abyss there is order and balance. The galactic heart is not a pump that pushes, but a weight that pulls. And that pull is exactly what you need right now to fall asleep. Let the gravity of the black hole become the gravity of your bed, pulling you down into the mattress, making your limbs feel heavy and relaxed, making your eyelids feel like they are made of lead. You are caught in the gentle field of the anchor, unable to resist the call of rest. The dust clouds of the center are thick and protective, wrapping the core in layers of cosmic wool, shielding the secrets of the singularity from the prying eyes of the outside world. It is a private place, a sanctuary of physics where the normal rules do not apply, where the impossible becomes real. Imagine entering this sanctuary, floating past the event horizon, not into destruction, but into a realm of pure thought, a place where the physical body is left behind and only the dreaming mind remains. The darkness of the black hole is not the darkness of fear, it is the darkness of sleep, the restorative blackness that cleanses the mind and heals the body. It is the color of the back of your eyelids when you close them tight, a warm velvety black that shuts out the glare of the sun. The supermassive object dominates the space, but it is silent. It does not boast, it does not shout, it simply exists, commanding the respect of 100 billion stars. This silence is contagious. It spreads out from the center, washing over the bulge, flowing through the spiral arms, reaching all the way to our little planet in the suburbs, quieting the noise of our cities, hushing the voices in our heads, telling us that the boss is in charge and all is well. The silent gravitational anchor holds the script of the galaxy, ensuring that the story continues, that the stars keep burning and the planets keep turning. You do not need to worry about the rotation of the Earth or the orbit of the Sun.
The anchor has it handled. The heavy lifting is being done by the heart of the galaxy, leaving you free to let go, free to be weightless, free to drift. The golden light of the central stars provides a night light, a soft amber glow that bathes the scene in warmth, contrasting with the absolute dark of the center. It is a beautiful image, the golden city surrounding the dark palace, a kingdom of light and shadow. As you lie there, visualize the invisible lines of gravity radiating out from the center, passing through the dust, passing through the void, passing through the earth, and passing through you, tethering you to the heart of the Milky Way. You are not floating aimlessly in space. You are anchored. You are held. You are part of the great system. This connection gives you permission to sleep, permission to trust the universe. The black hole has been there for billions of years, and it will be there for billions more, a symbol of permanence in a changing world. Let the concept of supermassive translate into super-relaxed, a massive amount of relaxation pressing down on you, smoothing out the wrinkles of the day, pressing out the tension from your shoulders and your neck. The center is a place of no resistance, where you simply surrender to the pull. Surrendering is the key to sleep, giving up the fight to stay awake,
letting the current take you, and the current here is strong and deep and dark, flowing toward the center of peace. The mysteries of physics, of singularities and wormholes, are not puzzles to be solved tonight. They are just bedtime stories, wonders to marvel at before the lights go out. The Event Horizon Telescope gave us a picture of a donut of light with a dark center, a blurry orange ring that looks like a portal to another world. Imagine stepping through that portal, leaving the noise of the universe behind and entering the library of silence. The galactic heart beats slowly, once every era, a rhythm so slow it is almost stillness. Sink your breathing to this stillness. Let the air leave your lungs slowly, waiting for the pause before the next breath, finding the silence between the inhales, finding the black hole between the thoughts. The journey to the center is complete. We have touched the anchor and found it smooth and cool and steady. We have looked into the eye of the galaxy and found it calm. Now we can turn back, drifting slowly away, back toward the soft light of the stars, carrying the heaviness of the center with us, a pleasant heaviness that drags us down into the pillow. The silent anchor holds the ship. The storm is over, the waters are calm, and the captain can sleep. Deep in the heart of the Milky Way, wrapped in the golden glow of the ancient stars, held by the gentle giant, the silent, heavy, peaceful, gravitational heart.
We have marveled at the blinding lights of the spiral arms and stood in awe before the heavy gravitational heart of our galaxy. But now we must turn our senses towards something far more subtle and mysterious, something that cannot be seen with the eyes, but can only be felt by the soul of the universe. We are stepping out of the light and into the shadow, exploring the vast and invisible structure that surrounds us. This is the story of the halo of darkness, the story of dark matter, an invisible embrace that holds the Milky Way together with a tenderness that defies the cold logic of space. Imagine for a moment that the galaxy we see, the billions of stars and the glowing clouds of gas, is merely the tip of a cosmic iceberg. For decades, astronomers looked at the spinning of the galaxy and were puzzled. They watched the stars on the outer edges of the spiral, stars that should have been drifting slowly, lazily, like distant planets orbiting a sun. But instead, they were rushing, moving with incredible speed, a speed so great that by all the laws of physics, they should have been flung out into the intergalactic void, like water spinning off a bicycle wheel. The galaxy should have torn itself apart billions of years ago, the stars scattering into the darkness like lost children. But it did not. The galaxy held its shape, the spiral arms remained intact, and the stars stayed in their lanes. It was as if some invisible hand was cupping the galaxy, holding it gently but firmly, preventing it from unraveling. This observation led to one of the most profound discoveries in human history, the realization that the universe is mostly made of something we cannot see, something we call dark matter. But do not let the name frighten you, for in this story, darkness is not a place of fear, but a place of safety. Think of dark matter not as a void, but as a presence, a massive, silent guardian that permeates every inch of our home. Imagine the shape of the Milky Way, not just as a flat disk, but as a sphere, a giant globe of invisible material that extends far beyond the visible stars. This is the galactic halo, a cocoon of gravity that wraps around the luminous galaxy like a shell around a pearl. We are living inside this cocoon, floating in a sea of invisible particles that pass right through us without leaving a trace. This halo is the true body of the galaxy. The stars are merely the glittering ornaments hanging on this vast invisible tree. The idea of an invisible embrace is a powerful one for sleep. It reminds us of the air we breathe, which we cannot see but which sustains us,
or the gravity that holds us to our beds, which we cannot see but which grounds us. Dark matter is the ultimate unseen support system. It creates a gravitational well, a deep and comfortable valley in the fabric of space-time, where the visible matter can gather and rest. Without this dark halo, the sun would not be here, the earth would not be here, and you would not be here. It is the silent architect of our existence, the loom upon which the tapestry of light is woven. Imagine yourself floating in the vast space above the galactic disk, looking down at the spiral. You can see the glowing arms, the bright core, the dust lanes, but now, with your mind's eye, you can also see the halo, a vast translucent sphere of influence, a distortion in the air, a shimmering heat haze of gravity that encapsulates everything. It is a comforting image, the idea that we're not exposed to the harsh emptiness of the universe, but are shielded, wrapped in a blanket of dark energy that keeps the family of stars together. The scientist Vera Rubin was the one who first truly saw this invisible dance, watching the galaxies spin and realizing that there was more mass there than met the eye. She realized that the universe was heavier than we thought, more substantial, more grounded. This extra weight is what anchors us. It gives the galaxy its majesty and its stability. Think of the halo as a mother holding a child. The visible galaxy is the child, bright and energetic and spinning, and the dark matter is the mother, vast and calm and unmoving, holding the child close so it does not fall. This relationship is one of pure affection, a gravitational hug that has lasted for 13 billion years. The particles of dark matter are ghost-like. They do not reflect light, they do not absorb light, they simply exist, flowing through the earth, flowing through the walls of your room, flowing through you. Right now, as you lie in bed, you are being bathed in a stream of this cosmic mystery. It is a gentle feeling, a reminder that you are connected to the deepest structures of the cosmos. The silence of the halo is absolute. Ordinary matter bumps and crashes and glows and burns, but dark matter does nothing but hold. It is the strong, silent type of the universe, the background hum that quiets the noise, allowing the stars to shine without chaos. As you drift deeper into relaxation, let the concept of the invisible soothe you. You do not need to see everything to know it is there. You do not need to understand everything to feel safe. The universe is full of hidden helpers, forces that work in the background to ensure stability. The dark matter halo acts as a buffer against the chaos of the intergalactic void, absorbing the impacts of smaller galaxies, smoothing out the ripples of gravity, creating a calm harbor in the ocean of space. The Milky Way is not just a collection of objects, it is a system, a balanced equation where the visible and the invisible work in perfect harmony. The light needs the dark to hold it, and the dark needs the light to give it meaning. This balance is the essence of peace, the yin and the yang of the cosmos, playing out on a scale of hundreds of thousands of light years. Imagine the sheer size of this halo. It extends hundreds of thousands of light years in every direction, fading gradually into the nothingness, a soft edge rather than a hard wall. This gradual fading suggests a gentle transition, a soft boundary between home and the unknown. You are deep inside this boundary, closer to the warm center, protected by layer upon layer of this invisible shield. The physics of the halo are complex, but the feeling is simple. It is the feeling of being inside, of being contained, the feeling of a heavy blanket pressing down on a cold night. The weight of the dark matter is not a burden, it is a comfort. It creates a gravitational bed for the galaxy to lie in, and you are lying in it too, nestled among the stars, held by the halo. The mystery of what dark matter actually is does not need to be solved tonight. Let it remain a mystery. Let it be the magic of the night. The unknown is often where we find our best dreams, in the spaces where our imagination can run free. Perhaps the halo is made of exotic particles, or perhaps it is a flaw in our understanding of gravity. It does not matter. What matters is the effect of safety, the effect of togetherness. The stars are not flying away, they are staying. And because they stay, we can have a stable solar system. We can have a stable sun. We can have a stable earth. And you can have a stable sleep. The chain of cause and effect leads directly from this massive invisible cloud to your pillow, connecting the grandest scales of the universe to the intimacy of your slumber. Visualize the galaxy spinning slowly within this sphere, a jewel rotating inside a glass case. The motion is frictionless, eternal, silent. The halo does not spin with the disk, it remains stationary, a fixed reference point in a moving universe. This stillness is what we seek in sleep, a place within ourselves that does not spin, that does not race, that simply observes. Find that still point inside you now, the part of you that is like the dark matter, the observer behind the thoughts, the silent presence behind the noise of the day. Connect with that inner halo. Let it expand until it encompasses your whole body, wrapping you in a cocoon of quiet. The invisible embrace is tightening gently, pulling the covers up to your chin, smoothing your brow, whispering that everything is in its place. The galaxy is not a chaotic explosion. It is a carefully held structure, a work of art suspended in the gallery of the night, preserved by the halo, protected by the dark. The fear of the dark is an ancient instinct, but here we rewrite that story. Here the dark is the hero. The dark is the glue. The dark is the foundation. Without the darkness, there would be no galaxy, only a scattered mist of lonely stars. So thank the darkness, welcome the invisible. Let it enter your room and fill the corners with peace. Let it weigh down your eyelids. Let it slow your breathing. You are floating in the invisible ocean, supported by buoyancy you cannot see, trusting the universe to hold you up. The halo of darkness is a lullaby of trust, asking you to believe in the things you cannot touch, to rest your head on the pillow of the void. The embrace is eternal. It will never let go. As long as the galaxy exists, the halo will be there, watching, holding, waiting, a silent partner in the dance of the heavens. Drift now, sink into the unseen. Let the boundaries of your body dissolve into the invisible sphere, becoming part of the halo, becoming part of the silence, becoming part of the deep, restful, and protective night.
We have explored the past and the present of our island home. We have felt the invisible embrace of the dark halo and rested in the quiet suburbs of the Orion Arm. But now the river of time begins to flow faster, carrying us forward away from the familiar era of today and into the deep and distant future. We are embarking on a journey of imagination to a time 4 billion years from now, a time when the sun will have grown brighter and the earth will have changed beyond recognition. But the greatest change will be in the sky above, for the destiny of the Milky Way is not to remain alone forever. Our galaxy has a partner, a distant lover, waiting across the cosmic void, and her name is Andromeda. This is the story of the Andromeda dance, a future that is already written in the laws of gravity, a forecast of a union so grand and so beautiful that it transcends the very concept of destruction. Imagine standing on a quiet hill on a future Earth, or perhaps on a planet circling a red dwarf star nearby. The air is still, and the night is dark. But as you look up,
You see something that would make a stargazer of the 21st century gasp in wonder. The familiar band of the Milky Way is there, arcing overhead, but it is not alone. Dominating the sky is another galaxy, a massive spiral of light that glows with an intensity rivaling the moon. This is Andromeda, our great neighbor, who has been traveling toward us for billions of years, moving through the silence of intergalactic space at a speed of 250,000 miles per hour. Yet the distance is so vast that to a human eye the motion is imperceptible. Night after night, century after century, she simply grows larger, brighter, and more detailed until she fills the view, a magnificent whirlpool of starlight tilting toward us, beckoning us into her arms. This approach is not a collision in the way we think of cars crashing on a highway. It is a merger, a marriage of giants, a gravitational handshake that will reshape the heavens. Imagine the feeling of anticipation that permeates the galaxy, the slow realization that we are not solitary, that we are destined to become part of something larger. The science of this event tells us that despite the scary word collision, the stars themselves will almost never touch. The spaces between the stars are so incredibly vast that two galaxies can pass right through each other, like two ghosts walking through a wall, or like two swarms of bees flying through each other without a single wing touching. The sun will not crash into another sun. The Earth will not crash into another world. We will simply glide through the spaces, finding new neighbors, seeing new constellations, breathing in new light. Imagine the beauty of the first pass. As Andromeda grazes the edge of the Milky Way, the gravity of the two giants will begin to pull at each other, creating great tidal tails of stars, long ribbons of light that stretch out into the void, like streamers thrown at a celebration. The spiral arms will begin to unwind, distorting and stretching in a slow, graceful ballet that takes hundreds of millions of years to unfold. The night sky during this time will be a masterpiece of chaotic beauty, with two bands of milky light crossing each other, forming an X marks the spot in the heavens. The dust clouds of both galaxies will press together,
compressing the gas and igniting a firework display of new starbirth. Millions of blue stars will blink into existence, lighting up the night with a brilliance never seen before. It is a time of renewal, a time of youth returning to the ancient galaxies. The Andromeda dance is a waltz of gravity, a slow spinning embrace where the partners circle each other, once, twice, getting closer with every turn, shedding their individual shapes to become one. Imagine the silence of this dance. There is no sound in space, no crashing roar, only the silent shifting of the tides of light. The universe is patient. It has all the time in existence. It does not rush the union. It allows the galaxies to settle into their new shape naturally, finding a new equilibrium, a new balance. Over eons, the beautiful spiral shapes we know today will dissolve. The arms will blend together. The supermassive black holes at the centers will spiral inward, eventually merging to form a single beating heart of the new galaxy. Astronomers have given this future galaxy a name that sounds soft and whimsical, Milkomeda, or perhaps Milkdromeda, a blending of names to match the blending of stars. Imagine living in Milkomeda. The sky would be uniformly bright, a vast halo of stars surrounding you in every direction. The darkness of the night would be softer, filled with the glow of 1 trillion suns. The view would be of a great elliptical galaxy, a massive ball of light that looks like a glowing fog, serene and stable. The era of the spiral will be over, replaced by the era of the ellipse, a shape that represents maturity and calm. This future is not something to fear, it is something to look forward to, a promise that the story does not end. It evolves, it changes, it grows. The universe is dynamic,
constantly reinventing itself, and we are part of that reinvention. The atoms in your body, the legacy of your existence, will be part of this new galaxy, sweeping through the new orbits, dancing the new dance. The Andromeda dance is a comforting concept because gravity is reliable. Gravity is constant. It does not change its mind. It does not break its promises. The union of the Milky Way and Andromeda is a certainty, a fixed point in the timeline of the cosmos, and there is peace in certainty, peace in knowing where we are going. Just as a river knows it will eventually meet the ocean, our galaxy knows it will eventually meet Andromeda. It is a homecoming of sorts, a gathering of the local family. The Triangulum galaxy will eventually join the party too, creating a massive island universe that will sail through the void for eternity. As you lie in your bed, let your imagination float up to this future sky. Picture the double galaxy above you, the twin rivers of light, the sheer majesty of the spectacle. The feeling is one of awe, but also of smallness, a comforting smallness that says you are safe. You are just a passenger on a very long ride. The timeline of billions of years means that this event is far, far away, giving us plenty of time to rest, plenty of time to dream. The urgency of the present moment melts away when compared to the lifespan of galaxies. What is a deadline or a worry compared to the slow drift of Andromeda? Nothing. It is nothing, merely a ripple in the stream. Let the scale of this future soothe you. Let the vastness of the time expand your mind until it feels loose and relaxed. The dance is slow, hypnotic, a cosmic pendulum swinging back and forth, counting down the eons. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The stars are moving, the galaxies are drifting, and you are sleeping, caught in the gentle gravity of the moment. The romantic aspect of this merger is profound. Two lonely travelers in the dark, finding each other, drawn together by a force that cannot be denied. It is a love story written in hydrogen and helium, a romance of physics. They will mingle their stars, share their gas, and become inseparable, a new entity greater than the sum of its parts. Imagine the view from a planet orbiting a star that has been thrown out into a wide orbit during the dance, looking back at the merging pair, seeing them locked in their embrace, glowing against the black velvet of deep space, a jewel of the cosmos, a beacon of unity. The silence of the future is deep and restful. The noise of the early universe has faded away. The violent explosions have quieted down, and what remains is the steady glow of the long-lived stars, the red dwarfs and the yellow suns, burning quietly for trillions of years. Milkomeda will be a quiet place, a retirement home for stars, a place of rest, and you can feel that rest now, anticipating the calm of the future, borrowing a little bit of that eternal peace for your night. The Andromeda dance reminds us that everything is moving toward connection, that separation is temporary, that unity is the ultimate goal of gravity. Let this thought wrap around you like a warm blanket, the thought of coming together, of finding home, of being held by a partner who understands the weight of the galaxy. The night is long, and the dance is just beginning. The music of the spheres is playing softly in the background, a melody of orbital mechanics and tidal forces, lullabying the worlds to sleep. The vision of the future fades slowly, leaving behind a sense of hope, a sense of continuity. The Milky Way is beautiful now, but it will be even more beautiful then, twice as bright, twice as grand, twice as majestic. Sleep now with the knowledge of this destiny. Sleep with the image of the great spiral approaching, not as a threat, but as a friend, a celestial companion coming to share the loneliness of the void. The stars are watching, the gravity is pulling, and the future is bright. Drift away into the dance. Let your dreams spiral out to meet the incoming light, finding peace in the promise of the inevitable, finding rest in the gravity of the love story of the stars. The dance goes on, silent and eternal, and you are sleeping, safe in the arms of the galaxy, safe in the flow of time.
And so our long and winding journey through the Silver River begins to draw to a close. We have traveled across the vast expanses of space and time, witnessing the ancient myths of our ancestors, peering through the glass of Galileo, counting the stars with Herschel, and dancing the great spiral waltz of the ages. We have stood on the edge of the dark halo and looked into the future of our union with Andromeda. But now it is time to return. Time to bring the focus back from the billions of light years to the singular point of here and now. Time to return to the quiet room where you lie. Time to return to the stillness of your own breath. The grand tour of the Milky Way is finished. The library of the cosmos is closing for the night. The lights are being dimmed in the great halls of the galaxy, and the universe is tucking you in. But as you lie there in the comfort of your bed, there is one final secret the galaxy wishes to whisper to you. One final scientific truth that is more comforting than any fairy tale. It is the realization that you are not merely an observer of this galaxy. You are the galaxy. You are not separate from the stars you have been imagining. You are made of them. Quite literally, every atom in your body, the calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the carbon in your genes, all of it was forged in the fiery hearts of ancient stars that lived and died billions of years ago. Before the Earth even existed, before the sun was born, there were other suns, massive and brilliant giants that burned with a fierce intensity, fusing simple hydrogen into the complex elements of life. And when their time was done, they exploded in magnificent supernovae, scattering their enriched dust across the emptiness of space, seeding the clouds that would eventually become our solar system, become our planet, and become you. This is the cosmic lullaby, the knowledge that you are stardust that has come together for a brief and beautiful moment to experience consciousness, to look back at the sky and wonder. You are a way for the universe to know itself. Think about the journey of the atoms in your right hand. They may have come from a star in the Scutum Centaurus arm, while the atoms in your left hand may have drifted from the Orion Nebula. You are a collection of cosmic history, a museum of stellar events walking the Earth, and now resting on the Earth. This thought dissolves the boundary between you and the night sky. You do not end where your skin ends. You extend outwards, connecting to the air, to the gravity, to the light, and to the dark. You belong to the Milky Way just as much as the black hole or the spiral arms. You are a child of the galaxy, home at last. Allow this feeling of belonging to wash over you like a warm tide, erasing any sense of loneliness or isolation. How can you be lonely when you are made of the same stuff as the stars? The universe is in your veins. The galaxy is in your breath. As you exhale, imagine you are releasing the stardust back into the flow. And as you inhale, you are drawing in the peace of the cosmos. The cycle is continuous, gentle, and slow. Imagine your body becoming lighter, the heaviness of the muscles turning into the weightlessness of dust. You are beginning to drift, floating up from the mattress, passing through the ceiling, rising gently into the cool night air. But you are not cold. You are wrapped in the warmth of the infrared starlight. You are drifting higher and higher, the roof of your house becoming a small square below, the streets and the trees fading into shadows until you are floating in the velvet silence of the upper atmosphere, looking down at the sleeping world and then looking up at the open arms of the Milky Way.
The band of light is no longer a distant picture. It is a river, and you are stepping into it, merging with the stream, becoming one of the billions of specks of light. This is the ultimate rest, the dissolution of the self into the infinite. There are no worries here in the river of stars, no deadlines, no schedules, no pain, only the slow, majestic rotation of the disk. You are drifting past the red giants, their slow pulsing light lulling you deeper into trance. You are drifting past the blue dwarfs, their steady glow guiding your way. You are stardust returning to the source, floating in the great magnetic fields that thread the galaxy, supported by the invisible hands of dark matter. The silence here is absolute, a silence that has existed since the Big Bang, a silence that cleanses the mind of all noise, all chatter, all static. Listen to the silence. Let it fill your ears. Let it fill your mind, displacing the thoughts of the day. There is only space, vast and empty and peaceful. The stars are your companions, silent guardians who have watched over the sleep of every creature that has ever lived. They are watching over you now, blinking slowly as if to say, "Rest now, we have the watch." The journey is over, the science is done, the history is written, and all that remains is the feeling of peace, the feeling of being held by something larger than yourself. The gravity that pulls you down is the same gravity that holds the galaxy together, a universal embrace that never falters. Allow your limbs to feel heavy as a collapsing star, sinking deeper and deeper into the soft support of your bed. Your eyelids are heavy, sealed shut by the dust of the Sandman, which is just another name for stardust. The visual of the galaxy is fading now. The bright lights are dimming, soft focus, blurry and warm. The spiral arms are uncoiling into a soft mist. The black hole is a point of restful dark. The nebula is a cloud of sleep. Everything is softening. Everything is slowing down. The rotation of the earth is your rocking chair. The orbit of the sun is your cradle. The expansion of the universe is your breath, deep and slow and rhythmic. You are drifting into the gray zone between wakefulness and sleep, a twilight zone where dreams begin to take shape, dreams of floating, dreams of flying, dreams of light. The atoms of your body are resting, the electrons are slowing your spin, the energy is settling. You are reclaiming your heritage as a creature of the cosmos, returning to the equilibrium of the void. Sleep is a little death, a temporary return to the state of stardust, and it is a beautiful release, a letting go of the need to be someone, the need to do something. Tonight, you do not have to be a person. You can just be a point of consciousness drifting in the dark, a spark of life in the great machine. The Milky Way will keep turning while you sleep. The stars will keep burning. The planets will keep dancing. Nothing requires your attention. The universe is on autopilot, safe and secure. You can let go of the controls, let go of the steering wheel, let go of the map. The current of the Silver River knows exactly where to take you. It flows toward the ocean of dreams, a vast, dark sea of rest. You are a boat with no anchor, drifting freely, bobbing gently on the waves of gravity. The shore of the waking world is far behind you now, a distant line on the horizon that matters no more. Ahead lies the open sea of the night, cool and inviting. The water is made of shadows, the foam is made of light, and you are sinking into it, deeper and deeper. The water is warm, the darkness is soft, the stars are kissing your face with their ancient light. Drifting into stardust is not just a title, it is a command, a gentle instruction to your soul. Drift, float, sink, sleep. the echoes in the large, empty chambers of the nebula, repeating over and over, "Sleep, sleep, sleep." The echoes fade into the distance, leaving only the quiet, the profound and heavy quiet of the end of the story. The book is closed, the telescope is capped, the dome is shut, the garden is empty. The only thing left is you and the sleep that is claiming you. Surrender to it. Give in to the heaviness. Give in to the peace. You are safe. You are loved by the universe that made you. You are held by the gravity that grounds you. You are watched by the stars that surround you. Good night, traveler. Good night, stargazer. Good night, child of the galaxy. May your sleep be as deep as the void. May your dreams be as bright as the stars. May you wake refreshed and renewed, knowing that you are part of the grand design. But for now, there is only the drifting, the floating, the soft and endless falling into the stardust. Drifting, drifting, drifting into the deep, dark, beautiful silence of the night.